Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being so patient with us over the last week or so as we've been able to finally come together and record this last week 3 and do this emotional clearing session. I feel as if, well, as you know, if you're not on the email list, please get on the email list. That's where we have all of our announcements for whenever things start to happen or we get interference in some way. We both believe in divine timing, and we kept trying to get together for this recording, and then weather or something would always end up happening. I think it feels like actually it was weather was every single time, and so the internet connection wasn't quite there. But as always, it turns out that it was perfect. So I just wanted to preface a little bit and give you fair warning that I actually have all 3 of my pups in here today. They all wanted to support this, but I may have to get up and actually let them out if they end up getting too restless, but they all wanted to be here. So if you hear them, I have 3 of them. There's Gabby the pug. You might hear her snoring and snorting and all kinds of things. And then I have Luna and Nala as well that will be in here. So thank you for joining us. Welcome. Here is Sarah Elizabeth, as always, my co-creator here with Red Lotus Life. And we are so excited to do this embodiment emotional clearing session.
So excited. It's going to be so good.
It feels juicy. All right, so let's just do a quick recap over week 1. We went into red flags and disassociation because we had so many questions after the boundaries workshop on embodiment and what does it feel like to not be in your body? What does it feel like to be in your body? What does it mean when people say they're disassociated? We can look at all of these definitions, but honestly, it's very different for each and every person. So we went deep into what that is, like went to the definition, but then we also went into what does it look like for each of us, both myself and Sarah Elizabeth, and that mind and body connection, not only disassociation, but also the mind and body connection. We also, in that week, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out because we gave examples on uncommon red flags as well. So it was pretty good. Then in week 2, if you haven't checked it out, go take a look because we dive deeper into these red flags, but actually how, like, what is embodiment, and also this meshing and merging of embodiment, spirituality, psychology, and even we went deep into soul fractals, which is big, and they talk about it a lot. It's nice to see this marrying of these different worlds of psychology and spirituality to come and the physical body. I mean, it's so fun. I had a really good conversation over the weekend with an MD who was starting to bring this type of work into her clinic because it's all the same. We're all saying the same thing. It's just using different language, and different terms, but it's all same. And so it's so fun to actually bring it all together. So that's what we did in week 2. And then we also gave examples of subtle and extreme red flags. And then we even did a little bit of unpacking around some of Sarah Elizabeth's shares, which was really cool around emotional manipulation. Yeah. Was there anything more that you wanted to add to that before we get started with this clear?
I think that the only thing that I wanted to touch base on is just like what's been coming up for us as we've moved into week 2 and now into the clearing session, what's been sort of activated. And I just wanted to share that there's been so much of this feeling of sacred rage, like really tapping into the collective sacred rage and really seeing, of course, it shows up for us at different time periods, but it really showed up for me with this work around noticing where people are willing to take accountability, where people are willing to step in and take action and use their voices when they see something that is not okay. And it really just dropped in for me in a really embodied way of, if a person is not willing to take responsibility for themselves or take responsibility for the experience of another is actually what I'm trying to say, then it really shows a lack of being able to take accountability and responsibility for their own actions. And that's hard to witness. It's really hard to witness.
It is hard. And I know as you and I were talking about all of this and really going, okay, so what's showing up for you and what's showing up for you? And just going back and forth, it reminded me of that conversation that you and I had probably 6 months ago, where I had tapped into that sacred rage.
Right.
And it was around a conversation that I had with someone else who was asking me about my first marriage. And one of the things that they had said was, well, why did you stay? Why did you stay so long? And that sparked something in me because it's always that question. It's always the question of why did you stay? And it's never the question, well, why did that happen? Why did he do that? What's going on with him? It's never on the perpetrator. It's always on, well, why didn't you had a choice to leave? It was one of those things. And we unpacked that a lot, but it brought in, and that is that embodiment. The same thing of when we're seeing something happen, why as a society are we not doing something about it? And I witnessed it over and over and over again after you and I had that recent conversation. I even noticed it on the plane. I had a flight over the weekend and I noticed it there. And people are just putting on blinders.
Right.
And it's almost like no eye contact. I don't see you. I don't hear you. Nothing. I'm going to just ignore you, which this is avoidance. This is disassociation. That person is not wanting to cause a scene, or a scene is being caused, but they're not wanting to get up and say something about it. They're starting to disassociate by, I don't see you, I don't hear you, head down, I'm just going to look. I'm just going to look down and I'm going to act like nothing is happening.
And I think in a lot of cases, it's a matter of fearing that there could be a repercussion or that they need to stay in their own lane. It's not any of my business. But if more of us started to, and we don't have to really cause a scene necessarily, but if we just started to use our voices when we do see these happening and have a conversation that just brings awareness, it doesn't even have to be a lot. It can just be a simple conversation coming from a place of love, coming from a heart-centered place that begins to drop, plant seeds that eventually could sprout. That would be the hope, right? And I just think that as long as we continue to sit here and be silent and not use our voices to create the change, the ripple that we want to see in this world, we aren't going to see the change we want to see in this world.
Mm-hmm. So this just brings me back to, I think it was week 2. It was week 2. And we were talking about the statistics. Do you remember that? We were talking about the statistics and how many people actually have experienced abuse in some way, in one form or another. And I just answered my own question about this, because I'm sitting here going, why is it that society does this? Well, society does this because most people, I will be bold enough to say, I believe everyone has experienced trauma in one way or another. And this is why they're disassociating. This is why they're not standing up. This is why because they haven't been doing their work. Oh, and there's Gabby. You're hearing Gabby. So if anyone can hear that, that's Gabby. So, yeah, let's get should we just get moving into this then? And let's clear this emotional block that is keeping us from being embodied so that we can have that strong mind, body, soul connection, and be able to listen to our physical body and what the signals and how it's communicating with us in all the ways. Okay. Do you want to go ahead and, oh, hold on one second. Was there anything more you want to share on this before we start?
No, not at all.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start dropping into this session. If you are driving or if you are doing anything that's important, please do not do this session with us. You can go ahead and just push pause and come back. I would invite you to have some water. Water's always great in clearing sessions. Definitely have some water. Also, have some notes, something that you can write down your own notes on, because this is going to be interactive in that way. You'll also, I highly recommend documenting your journey, because in our clearing sessions, what this does is it just creates space so that now you can reflect and integrate afterwards. So the clearing process is more just the process, and then it's what happens after this session that everything else begins to fall into place. So also, if you are someone who likes to cleanse and create your own sacred space, I invite you to do so now. I don't know what Sarah Elizabeth has, but I think today I'm actually going to do Palo Santo.
I actually usually do sage, but I actually have found this little bottle of protection spray that I had lost track of for a while, but I love it for these Zoom sessions. It's called Sun's Eye Mystic Blends Protection Spray. So I'm just going to use that today. I've already used it once, but we're just going to use it again because I love the way it smells.
Yum. I'm all yum. I can't smell it. What is it? What's in it?
Oh my goodness. It has a lot of different ingredients for which I am not able to read right now. They are too small. But all it's a blend specific to being able to protect our energy. But maybe next time I'll come with.
Amazing. I'm having a hard time getting mine to light, so I had to pull out my lighter. We're very authentic here in Red Lotus Life. We're not people who are super formal about all the things. We keep it simple. It's actually my gene key, my purpose gene key. Keeping it simple.
I also have the same gene key. We don't keep it simple. Everything's so complex, right? That shadow of complexity.
Yeah. And I think that's another reason why some people get intimidated with some of this stuff, because they think that they have to do it just perfect and just right. And that's actually that's not the case at all. In fact, to be honest with you, your intention is everything. So all of this is just fluff. But I do love the way it smells. Yeah. Okay. All right. And for those of you who see me, I might end up being off screen for just a moment. But if I am, again, it's only because I'm putting the pups out if they need to move. Okay. So, Sarah Elizabeth, I welcome you to go ahead and take over and drop us in.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with a very short meditation. And as we begin to drop in to the space for clearing, I'd love for you to just take a couple of deep breaths. Full deep breaths. As you exhale, just begin to ground your energy into Mother Earth. And as you're taking these breaths, also begin to call in your guides, guardians, ancestors, in order to help assist you with this clear and with the process of releasing. Also remembering to give thanks to the lands from which these tools came, from the cultures from which these tools came. We're so grateful. And if you'll just begin to visualize a very, very high frequency light beginning to come and pierce the crown, moving down through the chakras, through the third eye, down through the throat, healing and cleansing, moving down into the heart space. And as we enter the heart space, if you can just imagine those pieces of you, those soul fractals, those fractured pieces, wounded pieces, beginning to come back to you from wherever they may be, just gently calling them back. And as we begin to call them back, even if it's just the smallest, tiniest piece, feel into your body, feel into one place, even if it's a single cell where you can find the vibration of safety. And if you're not able to find that vibration yet, that's okay too. But as you find that single cell, that single vibration, just imagine it expanding throughout the entire body, imagining what safety can feel like. And as we're in that space of what safety can feel like, we're just going to begin to draw those fractals, all of those pieces, at their own pace, down into the solar plexus. And as we continue to see this healing light, we're going to go ahead and bring it down through into the sacral and through the root. Imagining an umbilical cord dropping from the root into Mother Earth. And as we begin to come back into the space, we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths as I return the container back to Lori.
Take 3 more big deep breaths. Continue to have your eyes closed. Coming back up from wonderful, nurturing, loving Mother Earth. Up through the feet. Up through the legs. For those of you who are familiar with the root, see that glowing root chakra at the base of the spine. Pulling it back up the spine ever so slowly until you reach the heart. And once you reach this heart space, I would like you to say, yes, that I can connect with you in this emotional clearing session. You can say it out loud, or you can say it energetically. Or if you are just wanting to witness, that's okay too. You can just witness, feeling this vibration of safety that Sarah Elizabeth so graciously brought us to. Take a big deep breath. And I'd like you to start to explore with your eyes closed. Just begin to remember very gently, remembering the times that you have been experiencing times of integration, times when you have been questioned for where you may have been, who you may have been talking to, why you're wearing the clothes you're wearing, why you aren't who you used to be. When you can feel that there is not really the intention to seek answers, but more of the intention to make you feel less than, make you feel small. See if you can tap into the areas in your body that you may be feeling tight. Then I'd like you to move into feelings or experiences when you may have felt as if your feelings weren't validated. The times in your life when you were crying and someone said, "Why are you crying? This is nothing to cry about." Or, "Why are you mad? There's nothing to be mad about here." Just take a big deep breath. Then I'd like you to think about the times when you may have experienced someone being jealous. Someone you've been in a relationship with being jealous of a male or female or any other person that you may have been speaking to, maybe accusing you of looking at somebody else or checking someone else out, or even at times when you have seen jealousy even with your family members or your children, if you're a parent. And think about that push-pull that you were feeling in your body when it was your best friend, but all of a sudden you're being told that you spend too much time with them and there must be something going on between you or something along those lines. Just feeling into the way the body might be feeling now constricted. And then think about the times when you felt isolated, you felt so alone, as if there was no one you could turn to for help. Scan the body, see what is it telling you right now. Just the feeling, what does it feel like? Do you feel some pains? Do you feel some aches? Maybe some pulsing, tightness. You may feel very stiff. You also may feel as if you want to run away. You might feel antsy. Stay with me. Hold this. You are safe. You're right here with us. So as you're feeling this, I'd like you to now bring your intention into this space. What is it that you would like to release so that you can have a strong mind-body connection, so that you are able to feel and witness and communicate with your body, with your higher self, your intuition, being able to immediately pick up on the signals of warnings or anything else that may be coming your way. I'd like you to speak this intention out loud, or you can just say it energetically, or even just hold what this intention feels like. My intention is to be able to support you with this clear in a way that is nurturing and that feels safe. All right, so go ahead and open your eyes when you're ready. Okay, if you need a few more minutes, please press pause. All right, and I have my emotional clearing chart here for the spiral modality, and we'll go ahead and we'll get going. Okay, so the emotion that is blocking us from becoming fully embodied to be able to communicate with our mind, our body, and our soul. And we have fire, earth, spleen, stomach, empathy, sympathy. We actually have sympathy here as our emotional block. So go ahead and write this down and I'll explain all of this. We have sympathy in stomach. And then the area that this emotional block is in, we've got money, love, romantic, family love. Okay, so we are in the area of family love. All right, so as I explain this, just go ahead and think about how this might be showing up for you in your life right now. So this is in the earth element. The earth element is, surprise, surprise, it's all about nourishment and stability. It's interesting that it was even, you dropped us into Mother Earth as well. And then we were coming back up. So this is beautiful. We're being supported by the earth element right now. This is where we feel grounded. It's where we feel secure and safe. Also where we can have feelings of heaviness. So as if we have like the weight of the world on our shoulders. This is also in the stomach organ, which I think is amazing as well, because the stomach is literally our processor. It is our filter. It is how we look at our environment, right? We have this environment around us, and it is how we are processing this information of our environment. Cores, when it becomes embodiment, right? We're thinking about embodiment. We're wanting to constantly jump out of the body. We're wanting to constantly leave that fight, flight, freeze. Even when I was talking about people just avoidance, looking down, I don't see you, I don't hear you. All of that is right here in this environment. And then in the stomach, this is our processor. It's how we're absorbing this information that can actually now go to the mind, body, and soul, so that the mind, body, and soul can now connect with us and communicate with us on what is the best thing to do next, right?
How do we respond?
Yep. And then when I always like to actually say the definition, the intention of the definition of each emotion, because Dane Thomas was very specific with this when he created the spiral. For those of you who are familiar with the spiral, I'll just put a little thing. So sometimes the emotions are actually in different organs and in different elements, but they have completely different meanings. So with this one being in the stomach element or the stomach organ, it is a feeling of resonance with. So yeah, we're not in resonance with anything, which is why we're disassociating and jumping out of our bodies. So this is in the area of family love. I really like this modality because we can literally pinpoint the exact situation, imprint, so that we can create these changes. It's not just like, oh, hey, so sympathy is the emotion. No, now we get to go deeper. We get to go deeper into this, saying, okay, it's sympathy. We're not in resonance with the environment around us. We're not able to process that. And now this is directly related to family love. So family love is, if you're doing ancestral work, then this is literally your ancestral line. It's either your maternal line or it's your paternal line. So you can look at both of these lines and you can see, okay, what has been being passed down in my genetics and in my DNA? What are the patterns? What are the cycles? When it comes to domestic violence, that is the pattern. That is the cycle. You could probably go on your maternal line or your paternal line and you can literally see the cycle just keeping repeating itself down to you. Now, this can also be directly related to the love for the mother or the love for the father. So if you are someone who had experienced something, some kind of, I'll just keep going with it. This could be directly related to the love of the mother or the love of the father and the experience there. This can also be the family culture of sympathy. Do you have a family culture that is sympathetic or has a complete lack of it as well? This can also be an experience where you are experiencing these things directly with family members, or you're witnessing it within your family, with others in your family. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing with this is that it doesn't necessarily have to be blood related. This can be people that you think of as family, that you share. So it can be people who are members of your religion. It can be people at work or at school or any kind of organization as well, or even just friendships. So think about that for a moment. And I'd like you to go ahead and take a minute to write down all of these things that you're going, oh yeah, it's this. Yep, it's this. Mm-hmm. That's it. So just take a moment and write all of this down.
And also, it's okay if nothing comes to you immediately. A lot of times what will happen for me is kind of like we go through the motions, we have the clear. Usually something comes up that's really specific, and sometimes it takes a little while for it to drop in, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%.
Usually there will be that aha moment. It's like, oh, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, don't discount it if it's something very small. I think a lot of times people in these sessions, they think it's going to be something really big and like of course, but we're dealing with the unconscious here. So if there's something really small that you're like, there's no way this is it, I guarantee you if that's the first thing that popped up, that's what it is. So allow that to actually be it. And then you'll see as we move through it.
When that pops up, that's actually your intuitive guidance. So your higher self knows best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you need a few more minutes, then go ahead and press pause. We're going to go ahead and get going with this. So I really enjoy the spiral modality because, again, this isn't somewhere where we go and we relive. It's more of a place where we just identify and we go, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. So let's go ahead and yeah, we're good to go. If you have questions about this, we're happy to answer any of them. Just put the questions in the comments below. But we go deep, deep, deep into this work in the Red Rose Life membership. So here we just kind of skim over it a little bit, but we're happy to explain more if needed. So let's go ahead and clear this. We're going to clear this in the meridian, which is the stomach meridian. So you can take your left hand here. This is going to be a really gentle and subtle clear in the stomach. It usually is. So you're going to cup your hands like this on the left side, and then you're just going to rub the left side right underneath the rib cage. That's where your stomach meridian is. And if you, as we're doing this, just allow anything to release, to come up from the body. Sarah, Elizabeth, and I, we are practitioners, so we can clear pretty intensely at times. But if that's tears, if it's yawning, burping is very common. If you have the wiggles and you need to move around, go ahead and do that. Laughing, anything, sneezing, anything like that. Just let the body release in this way. You may feel, just go ahead right here. You may feel a little bit of nausea here, and then it will more likely dissipate pretty fast. Breathe very gently, big deep breaths into the space. We're releasing sympathy from the body, from the stomach. I can feel like a big burp coming. Allowing sympathy to release so that we can shift into a frequency of resonance, allowing this to be free so that we can look at our reality and we can look at our environment and know what is happening, what's happening around us. And then also freeing up that space so that now we can strengthen that mind-body connection, that intuition. So there's no more second guessing. You will be able to be in tune with those red flags and how they are being communicated to you. Or if you need to get up and move around, you can do that as well until you feel lighter. Move the body, move the spine. Big deep breaths, getting oxygen to that space. Feeling safe, feeling secure. Knowing that the body is the vessel, that is the home. It's okay to be here.
And again, even if this is just the very, very beginning of you beginning to feel safe. No matter where we are on our journeys, we're exactly where we're meant to be, and everything is okay, no matter where you are.
Mm-hmm. Take some time to start to feel your body. You can take your hands and place them on your thighs and just very, very gently begin to feel your body. Start to awaken these senses. What does it feel like? Feel the warmth of your hands. And I'd like you to give yourself this big hug. Eyes closed, feeling that squeeze. Knowing that this is a safe place, that you are loved. And if you're feeling as if you want to jump out of your body, because there are many times that we feel this, it can feel, for some, this can feel very nourishing and nurturing, and for others, this can be really uncomfortable, that clear like this. So just knowing, feeling that love, that heart space. I'd like you to connect with that heart space again. Big deep breaths. And just settle in. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, if you need a few more minutes, go ahead and hit pause again. But for now, I had a little more, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're going to start feeling it. You're going to start feeling it start to relieve as you move around. So, okay, so what I'd like to just check, are we good? The members, and anyone participating in this clearing session, are they good to go? Yes, we are all good to go. Okay, amazing. All right. Right. So does anyone who has participated in this emotional clearing session have everything they need to let go of what is already gone? Yes. Okay. Does everyone who has participated in this clearing session have everything they need to integrate to a new level of embodiment? Yes. Do we now have energetic permission for everyone who has participated in this clearing session to experience an undeniable positive experience of all the changes we have just initiated? Sorry, I have the wiggles now. I'm gonna start that over. Like I can feel more coming up. So do we now have energetic permission for those who participated in this emotional clearing session to experience an undeniable positive experience of all the changes we have just initiated, both consciously and unconsciously, beginning and starting from right now? Yes. Welcome to your body. Also, welcome to your emotions, which may feel a little, I'm going to preface it, it might feel a little scary, but it also is so freeing. That is what we are here for, is this human experience, and to feel these emotions and to have these emotions and to express these emotions. So, Sarah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
Really grounded, really in my body.
Good.
I like it.
Good. I like it. I like it when it is in the earth element and the stomach specifically, because it is directly related to our environment. So I feel like it's easy. I don't want to say easy. So after these sessions, this is going to be in your field now. You're going to see what's happening, because we just cleared the reaction. We cleared the reaction, and now you're going to be learning how to respond to your environment and your senses, even your senses and your emotions. So it's going to be in your face a little bit as we just barely took that blanket and we just flicked off all the dirt and the sand and everything so we can now have our picnic, our nice picnic. So know that in the next week, you might feel a little uncomfortable with some of this stuff, but it's as you're easing into just noticing your awareness of your environment, of where are you in alignment and where are you not when it comes to feeling that love and that safety and that security and that stability. So, yeah. Would you like to do integration?
Yeah, absolutely. So just sort of a recap as far as like, what is integration? So we've just done this clear. We're really removing like all of the yuck, all of the conditioning that, has come up for us around being in our body or beginning to come into our body around, how we're feeling when we're feeling these red flags and that emotion of sympathy. So moving forward, what we're actually wanting to do is to create new neural pathways. And that is what, different ways, new ways of being, doing, and having, existing, creating in the world, all of those things. So as we do move into the releasing portion, as all of these things are coming to the surface, as we're integrating, it's so important to actually do your integration. Because we cannot create new ways of being, doing, and having if we aren't doing our integration. And it also sort of causes us to sit in our stuff in the muck for a little bit longer. So for this clear specifically, given that it is around embodiment, and beginning to call back those fractured, wounded soul fractals, and given that it's related to, how we're feeling in our bodies, I think that a really good integration activity would be to just really move your body, do movement practices. It might be yoga, it might be dance, it might be something as simple as just going out into the garden. And then as you're doing these practices, I would really love for you to incorporate just calling in all of your senses, your touch. What are the sensations you're feeling in your body? What are you hearing? Just any kind of sensation that you can connect with as you're going through these practices.
I love that.
And how does it make you feel?
That's what I was just going to say. The last part I think would be great to journal on these experiences, because I know for me, when I started to become more embodied, all of a sudden I could hear birds singing and I could hear music, and then I could see colors like I've never seen them before. And I could feel like you and I've talked about this, like my clothing, I could feel when it was uncomfortable. The tiniest little thing is uncomfortable. Like I could feel the tiniest tag. So your senses, and food, food tastes so good. You're going to start to notice when you're eating McDonald's and where you're eating this fresh food out of the garden. I mean, so many things are going to start to just expand and open up for you when we become embodied. That's why we look at the scary parts of, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to look at this. But then there's this part, this much of it. And that part is the part that's going to be transformational for you. The rest of it is like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this tasted so good. You're just, even gum. I remember gum. I was like, wow, I can really taste the flavor in this. So yeah, there's so much that comes with this this is where that freedom and that expansion that we talk about and we have been talking about happens. So I am really excited to see how everybody how everybody is after all of this in the next few weeks as we unpack it here on the YouTube channel. Very good. Okay, well, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this before we wrap up?
One thing that I would like to just mention as something to pay attention to is something that I didn't actually have an experience or awareness around for, until I had the experience and awareness. But just to be feeling into, as you are looking to find that feeling of safety in your body, also consider that feeling of safety can really feel scary when you've never experienced that, and just beginning to explore what really is on the other side of safety. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Because man, on the other side of that, it's a whole new world, just like what Lori was just sharing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also would like to, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't have a reference point for what that was.
Me either, for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, my reference point was jealousy, was gaslighting, was all of that. And so that's why we find ourselves going into these patterns. But whenever we start to release through emotional clearing, all of a sudden there's a new reference point and we don't even recognize it sometimes. So if you're someone who hasn't really felt like you don't have a reference point for what safety feels like, I do encourage you to also, if you need to, there's other tools out there, meaning like weighted blankets, things like that, that really help with that, because you could feel as if you're very exposed and vulnerable as this begins to unfold. So there are other ways to feel that safety as you become to recognize that this is actually safety. Like there might be some other things like that. So if you have any questions, please ask us. We're happy to help with that. We have lots of different ways that we can help with this integration.
Pay attention to the places where you don't feel safe.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they are going to be big. All of a sudden they're going to be like flashing neon signs. So pay attention to that. And then you're going to notice how you're going to start to respond versus react. Okay. So this can be a pretty big one with embodiment. So I suggest in the next couple of days, drink lots and lots of water. Please get some rest, eat very nourishing foods. There is a chance that you're going to be craving root vegetables. So pay attention to that. If you are, please eat the root vegetables. That would be potatoes, carrots, anything, onions, like all the things. A lot of my clients will go and they all of a sudden can't get enough of the juice. So they'll go to all the juicing places and get tons of that. Allow yourself to eat the dense foods, because this has to do with our root chakra and our survival and our safety and security and all of that. So go ahead and do that. Also journal, document in the next few weeks what's going on. Like come back into this space, and as we begin to unpack this clear and we start to do integration with you, come back into this place and document this, because you will be in a different place by the time we're done with this one. And also just be gentle with yourself. This is a big one. This is a really big clear. So just be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others, and really come back to that heart space again. Anytime that you feel unsure or you feel you don't feel that safety and security, come back to this heart space and then ask higher self, because soul always knows. Always knows. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if you enjoyed this, I just want to first say gratitude. Thank you so much for doing this deep work with us and for joining us here. And if you did enjoy this, or if you know somebody that could really use this, please share. This isn't going to be out for very long, only for a few weeks. So please share this with anyone and everyone that you think might find some value in this, or it might help them. And then if you're interested in diving into this deeper, This is where we do all the deep work in the Red Lotus Live membership group. The link is below if you'd like to see more on that. But we're so incredibly grateful that you're here with us today, and really looking forward to integration and unpacking all of this with you in the weeks to come.
Yes. Please do like, comment, share, and also share your experiences in the comments. So much gratitude. Thank you for sharing space with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
And live your life today.